Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of the Elevation Podcast. I'm the host, Jonathan Mitchell, owner, creator, founder of Elevation Coffee Roasters, co-owner, co-creator of Autonomy Coffee Lab. Guys, this podcast is coming to you from a deep sense of my why. Like why I believe we are on this planet. I believe it's for two things. To create, because we were created in the image of a creator, and to have community. We were created for community with people. I've been blessed and fortunate enough to have coffee be my vessel for both those things, but that wasn't always the case. Before getting into coffee and starting Elevation Coffee Roasters in December of 19 is when we officially launched. Started it before that. I worked a corporate job for 12 years, had the office, turned cubicle, turn office, turn cubicle, kind of back and forth, always trying to work your way up, finding different projects to do, impress the people above you type thing. And while I am a firm believer in the grass is green where you take care of it, I had green grass, but it wasn't a fulfilling lawn, if that makes sense. And I always had this thing that kind of like ate at me. It was just like, you're meant for more than this. And there's nothing wrong with the job that I had before. It paid the bills. It helped us buy our first home. It had a little bit of stability, but as you realize in life, there's no such thing as stability. There's no such thing as true loyalty in these things. You can give everything to something without it being reciprocated. So it's where I believe that we are creators, every single one of us. Now, it's never more apparent than when I had a daughter. My daughter, Emma, who a lot of you guys might know her, she's my everything. And from a young age, she really had that creative itch, and it brought back that creative mind in me, the playfulness that we are supposed to have forever. And I have a Fred Rogers quote on that. You're going to get a few Fred Rogers quotes in here. He's kind of my hero. And sorry, I had it queued up, and here we're going to go for a second here. Off to a great start on this first podcast here. It's okay. My guests are so much more engaged than I am, and they have great stories. That's what this is actually all about, and I'll get to that in a second, though. But this one here. It's very important, no matter what you may do professionally, to keep alive some of the healthy interests of your youth. Children's play is not just kid stuff. Children's play is rather the stuff of most future inventions. That quote really hit me hard, having a daughter who her whole existence was play. From birth, through childhood, through toddlerhood, through elementary school, it was play. It was create. It was build. It was tear down, create, build. And those same things itch in every single one of us. We all have it in us. You on the other side of this camera right now, or on the other side of this podcast listening to it, you have that creative thing that you love doing. And I don't think that every creative thing has to be monetized, but if you can find a way to do that thing for a living, my gosh, you're going to get to the end one day of this life on this planet and say, I did it right. And having a daughter, my goal was for her to be able to live a life that's able to do that. I could have gotten to the end and been happy and said, hey, I lived a great, fulfilling life. But I also found out, like, at a certain point in life, your kid will stop listening to what you say and watch what you do. And by that, I mean, I can tell her, and she believed, very young age, you can chase your dreams, you can chase your dreams, you can chase your dreams. She believed it. But I knew at a certain point, when she knew what my dream was, to open a roastery and a coffee shop, that she was going to turn around and be like, wait, I thought this was possible, Dad. Why can't I chase my dreams? Because you're not doing it. And it was very convicting to me. She never said those words, but I knew it was going to happen one day. And it was very convicting inside. And that was when I was like, we have to do this. My wife was on board. Fantastic wife. Guys, she is my foundation, my rock. She is the yin to my yang. Without her, none of this is possible. And the funny thing about all that, too, she doesn't even drink coffee. But she is my number one supporter, has my back in everything we do. Love you to death, babe. And through that, I went to that corporate job, went to my boss at the time, rest in peace, Tom Ward. And I put in my 6-month notice. This was in the beginning of 2019. He actually turned me down. He said, no, need you here. And it was a nice compliment. And he also knew that the way jobs operate sometimes is that, they usually won't replace somebody who, like myself, who did the job of 4 people with somebody. It's just going to get spread out and it's going to get done worse, or a lot of it will fall on his plate. And he knew that was going to happen. So we fast forward to the point where, we're a few months into this notice, and we've had a few round of layoffs already at the job, and things weren't going great. And I finally went to a boss and said, "Hey, can I be part of the next round of layoffs?" I was told no, and then we circle around to a new board of directors comes in. We get a new VP of over HR, and if I remember correctly, it was probably her first week on the job. And just basically let me go. You're fired. You know what? Your notice is already in. We don't need you anymore. We're moving in a different direction. And that's where I realized loyalty does not matter. And for the most sense, but in that, it was definitely the right path for me. If I would have waited until that 6 month had come in, I would never have found my first location, the Northdale location, which has become a staple in Carrollwood and Tampa and the Northdale community, as that third place. And that would never have been possible if I was not let go early. And if I wasn't let go early, the guy who owns the business, Scott Strady, shout out, great man, took me into his office, made sure I got a severance for being let go, and also helped me narrow down to the name Elevation. Because at the time I had 20 names. I didn't know. I thought, name has to have so much meaning, all these things. And I was just like, you know what? Stop it. It just needs to be a single word that has something to do with what you're doing. Elevation is a terroir term. And it's also about elevating the day of the person who comes in. And that's the goal of Elevation. So fast forward to this podcast again. I have been fortunate enough to meet some of the most amazing creative people. Some of them you might recognize, some of them you don't know who they are, but I encourage you to listen to every single one of their stories. We're going to have people who are actors, people like Dana Roebuck. He's been in over 400 things, 450 things or so. Amazing story of how he started and got through and pushed through to become one of the greatest character actors of our generation. We got my buddy Tom Pestock, who was Baron Corbin in the wrestling community, played in the NFL before that. His story of perseverance and pushing through and then getting to the point where he became a girl dad just like me. We connected over coffee, and now we own Autonomy Coffee Lab together. My buddy Chris Barakat, professional bodybuilder. When you hear his story of his last season, getting up on stage and what he had to go through, man, the word resilience is a word that we repeated in that podcast. It's going to hopefully resonate with you guys. And remember, don't ever give up on any of your goals and dreams, no matter what obstacles are thrown in your way. We have Kate Korsak, awesome fantasy author. Same thing. Her encouraging words of, guys, not everything you do has to be published, but also put your work out there. That's something that, man, I found like very hard. Even in trying to start this podcast, it was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to operate the cameras. I don't know how to upload these things, but I'm just doing it. Same with this. I have minor notes on here, minor notes over here. I don't know what I'm doing, but you know what? I'm just doing the thing. And her words are so encouraging for that. Then we have coffee professionals. We got Nate and Grace Frey of Leatherback Coffee Roasters. Their story of husband and wife going in, quitting their full-time jobs to chase their coffee dreams is super inspiring, especially for our community in coffee. And then Pal Chamara Ward, who is, I think, one of the most inspiring people in coffee. Stories of working your way from a barista up to general manager, stories of starting your own company, failing in a company, pivoting in companies. That one, honestly, I could have talked to her for 5 hours. It's probably going to be a 2-part episode because we just kept going. Great business knowledge in there. And then I've got so many more guests lined up that I can't wait to introduce you to. But that's going to be the first part of it. And guys, I just encourage you, wherever you can, subscribe, lock on to it, give a listen, because this isn't a podcast I'm trying to reach 1 million people for. I'm trying to reach one person for each one that is inspired to break those, the mold, the chains, whatever you want to call it, that they're stuck in, that is stopping them from chasing that dream. The same thing that for me, I had found every excuse not to do something. It would be the constant, I found the right location, but the price is too expensive. The price is good on this one, but the location's not great. We can find every reason not to do something, but we're going to get to a certain point in life where you're going to look back and wish you would have. And even if you do it and fail, failure's not fatal. Nothing is final about it. You take those learning lessons and you move to the next thing. And guys, we just really want to encourage people, chase those dreams, be on this earth to create, to be a part of a community. And that's who these people that are going to be on this show are about and what it's for. And who knows, this might be something that is ever evolving. This isn't one of those things where, like in coffee, I have a set standard. Like I'm roasting to a certain level. I'm only sourcing certain coffees. We are service hospitality. It's very focused on what it is. This podcast could evolve into something else. But right now, it's going to be the stories of those amazing creators and creatives that I have met in and through Elevation Coffee Roasters. And hopefully their stories will inspire you to chase your dreams and goals. Thank you so much for tuning into this quick first episode, little introduction on who I am, why this came about. And I want to close it out with one more quick quote, which is kind of a life quote for me. And again, it's my homie, my hero, Fred Rogers. If you could only sense how important you are to the lives of those you meet, how important you can be to the people you may never even dream of, there is something of yourself that you leave at every meeting with another person. If every one of us took that and lived like that, I think the world would be a better place. And it's something we do through Elevation, through Autonomy, and I hope through this podcast to leave every single person, leave a bit of ourselves with every person that we do, and hopefully it's a good part of us that we're leaving with them. And guys, this podcast is not possible without an audience, without my buddy Jarrett, Palm Tree Content, for being the producer on this. Appreciate him so much. The music that's going to be on it is something I pieced together thanks to a sample pack from Darren King, one of my musician heroes. Some drum and synth. It might not be your cup of tea, but it's what I could put together. I'm not a musician, but hey, put it together for that. And, there's no sponsors right now, and I'm not looking for sponsors for it either. But if I were to throw a sponsor out there, it's Autonomy. I'm here, there. This is the studio by Palm Tree and Autonomy in here, and Elevation Coffee Roasters. And that's where, you can find all the best coffees in Tampa, the best communities, the best local baristas. I urge you to visit one of our locations, 3 of them across Tampa. Just thank you so much for listening, for jumping in. And guys, I can't wait for you to get to these podcasts and listen to them. And be on the lookout. Follow us on Instagram, Elevate Coffee, Autonomy Coffee Lab. My own personal one, I have a private one. Leave that one alone. But my other one is just Jonathan Mitchell, or Jonathan C. Mitchell. I can't remember. I created it recently just for coffee stuff to have a public profile. But we'll be dropping clips and reels from these, leading up to each episode that I think are going to be fun, inspiring, and I hope you guys follow along. Thank you so much.